There are seasons in life when silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. We live in a world that pressures you to explain yourself, defend your process, and announce your next move before it even happens. But some of the greatest breakthroughs are born in quiet places. When you stay silent, you protect your energy. You stop leaking power to people who do not understand your journey, your timing, or your calling. Silence is not doing nothing. Silence is preparation. While others are talking, complaining, and seeking validation, you are becoming. God often works in hidden seasons. Seeds grow underground before they ever break the surface. If you dig them up too early to prove something, you interrupt the process. The same is true for your life. Not everyone needs to know what you are building, what you are praying for, or what you are planning next. When you stay silent, you avoid unnecessary battles. You stop trying to convince people who have already decided not to believe in you. You let results speak. You let growth answer questions that words never could. Silence confuses your enemies, but strengthens your focus. While they are watching your mouth, God is working on your future. There is power in moving quietly. Every time you resist the urge to respond, explain, or react, you gain control. You stop giving people access to your emotions. You stop allowing opinions to shape your direction. Silence creates clarity. It allows you to hear God's voice more clearly than the noise of the world. Silence is often misunderstood in a loud world. Many people believe that if you are not speaking, reacting, or defending yourself, then you must be weak or afraid. But true strength is not proven by how loudly you respond. It is proven by how well you can control yourself. Anyone can react emotionally. Anyone can argue, explain, or raise their voice. But it takes inner power to stay calm, composed, and silent when provoked. Self-control is one of the highest forms of strength. When you choose silence, you are choosing mastery over your emotions. You are deciding not to let anger, pride, or frustration dictate your behavior. Instead of giving people access to your reactions, you keep your power within. Silence becomes a shield that protects your peace and your focus. Strong people do not feel the need to prove themselves through words. They understand that constant talking often comes from insecurity, not confidence. When you know who you are and where you are going, you do not rush to explain yourself. You trust your path. You trust the process. You trust that time and results will speak on your behalf. Silence also demonstrates maturity. It shows that you can pause, reflect, and respond wisely rather than impulsively. In moments of pressure, silence prevents mistakes that words can never take back. It allows you to observe, to think clearly, and to act with intention instead of emotion. Choosing silence does not mean you lack a voice. It means you are disciplined enough to use your voice only when it truly matters. That discipline is strength. That restraint is power. And that power quietly separates those who are controlled by circumstances from those who control themselves. Every word you speak is an exchange of energy. When you explain yourself to the wrong people, argue with closed minds, or respond to negativity, you are giving away strength that could be used to build your future. Staying silent is not about avoiding people. It is about protecting your energy from being drained by opinions that do not contribute to your growth. Not everyone who speaks into your life deserves a response. Some people question you, not because they want to understand, but because they want to doubt, discourage, or distract you. When you stay silent, you deny negativity the fuel it needs to grow. You stop allowing other people's insecurity, jealousy, or misunderstanding to enter your spirit. Energy is limited. Where you spend it determines what grows in your life. If you constantly respond to criticism, gossip, or judgment, you become exhausted without realizing why. Silence creates boundaries. It keeps your mind clear, your heart guarded, and your focus intact. Instead of reacting, you conserve your energy for prayer, preparation, discipline, and action. Silence also frees you from the pressure of approval. When you stop responding to every opinion, you stop living for validation. You learn that not every comment requires an explanation, and not every misunderstanding needs to be corrected. Peace comes when you accept that people will think what they want and that their thoughts do not define your destiny. By staying silent, you choose peace over chaos. You choose progress over drama. You choose inner strength over external noise. Protecting your energy allows you to move forward with clarity, confidence, and purpose, while others remain trapped in cycles of negativity and reaction. Your plans are valuable because they are connected to your purpose. Your process is sacred because it is shaping who you are becoming. When you share these things with everyone, you expose them to opinions, doubt, and interference that can slow your progress. Silence is a form of protection. It allows your vision to grow without being damaged by unnecessary access. Some people ask about your plans out of curiosity, not concern. Others listen just to compare, criticize, or compete. Not everyone wants to see you succeed, and even those who care about you may not understand your path. When you speak too soon, you invite confusion and resistance into something that is still developing. Silence gives your ideas time to mature. Your process requires focus. Growth is often fragile in the early stages, just like a seed. If you keep digging it up to show others what is happening, you disrupt its growth. Staying silent allows you to work without pressure, without expectation, and without the weight of other people's timelines. You move at the pace God intended, not the pace people demand. There is also power in surprise. When people know all your plans, they watch you with judgment instead of faith. But when you stay silent, you move freely. You are not trapped by promises you made too early, or explanations you no longer believe in. You allow your progress to speak for itself. A silence teaches discernment. It helps you recognize who has earned the right to hear your dreams and who has not. When you guard your plans and process, you protect your confidence, your motivation, and your direction. You grow stronger in private so that when the time comes, what you reveal is already established and unshakable. Every meaningful transformation begins in places that are unseen. Before anything becomes visible, there is a hidden season where real growth takes place. Just like roots grow underground before a tree ever bears fruit, your character, discipline, and strength are being developed long before success becomes public. Silence is often the environment where this growth happens best. Hidden seasons can feel frustrating because there is no applause, no recognition, and no immediate reward. It may seem like nothing is happening, but in reality, everything is happening. God uses these quiet periods to build your foundation. Without a strong foundation, public success would collapse under pressure. Silence keeps you grounded while you are being prepared. When growth is hidden, it is protected from comparison and competition. You are not measuring yourself against others or rushing your progress to match someone else's highlight reel. Instead, you are focused on becoming better than you were yesterday. Silence removes distractions and allows you to develop consistency, patience, and resilience. Public success without private growth is dangerous. It creates pride without depth and visibility without stability. Hidden seasons humble you. They teach you to work without recognition and remain faithful without rewards. This kind of growth shapes your mindset and strengthens your spirit so that when success finally arrives, you can handle it. A silence during hidden seasons also builds trust in the process. You learn to keep moving forward even when no one is watching and no one is clapping. That discipline is what separates temporary success from lasting impact. What grows quietly develops roots that cannot easily be shaken. When you stay silent, you create space for God to move freely in your life. Constant talking, explaining, and worrying often come from a desire to control outcomes. But faith requires trust, and trust grows best in silence. When you stop trying to manage every detail with words, you allow God to handle what you cannot see or predict. A silence removes pressure, both the pressure you put on yourself and the pressure others place on you. When people know your plans, they attach expectations. They ask questions. They rush your timeline. Silence frees you from that weight and keeps your focus on obedience rather than approval. God's work is not rushed, and silence aligns you with His timing. Interference often comes through doubt, fear, and outside voices. The more you speak, the more you invite opinions that can shake your faith. Silence protects your belief from being weakened by skepticism. It helps you hear God more clearly without the noise of human advice that may not align with divine direction. God often works quietly. He changes hearts, opens doors, and removes obstacles in ways you never announce or anticipate. Silence trains you to trust what you cannot explain. Instead of trying to convince people that something is happening, you learn to rest in the assurance that God is already at work behind the scenes. In silence, your relationship with God deepens. You become less focused on proving and more focused on believing. You stop forcing outcomes and start surrendering control. That surrender creates room for God to do what only He can do, shaping your future with precision, purpose, and power. The need to constantly explain yourself often comes from feeling misunderstood or judged. While it is natural to want clarity, over-explaining can become a trap that steals your time, focus, and momentum. Every explanation pulls you back into conversations that do not move you forward. Silence, on the other hand, keeps you moving in the direction of your purpose. Not everyone is meant to understand you at your current level. Some people only recognize value after results appear. When you explain yourself to those who are not ready or willing to understand, you waste energy trying to convince instead of creating. Progress does not come from being understood, it comes from being consistent. Over-explaining also invites doubt. The more you talk, the more people feel entitled to challenge your decisions, question your motives, and offer advice you never asked for. This can create confusion and hesitation in your own mind. Silence protects your confidence. It allows you to trust your decisions without constantly second-guessing yourself. There is also danger in explaining too early. When your vision is still forming, words may not fully capture what you are building. Misunderstanding follows, and misunderstanding leads to discouragement. Silence gives your ideas time to develop into something solid before they are shared or judged. Progress requires forward movement, not constant justification. When you stop explaining and start executing, your life begins to accelerate. Results close mouths that explanations never could. Silence keeps you aligned with action, discipline, and growth, while others remain stuck in endless conversations that lead nowhere. Words can promise, explain, and inspire. Results provide undeniable proof. Anyone can talk about what they are going to do, but only a few are willing to put in the work required to produce outcomes. When you stay silent and focus on action, you allow your results to become your voice. Success carries a weight that the explanations never can. Talking too much about your plans often creates an illusion of progress. You feel productive because you spoke about it, but nothing has actually changed. Silence forces you to replace words with discipline. Instead of announcing intentions, you build habits. Instead of defending yourself, you improve yourself. Over time, those improvements become visible. Results silence critics without confrontation. People who doubted you, questioned you, or underestimated you will eventually see the evidence for themselves. No argument is needed. No justification is required. When results appear, opinions lose their power. What once needed explanation becomes obvious. There is also authority in achievement. When you produce results, people listen differently. Your words carry credibility because they are backed by experience, not ambition alone. Silence before success builds respect after success. It shows that you are more committed to doing the work than to talking about it. Letting results results speak also keeps you humble and focused. You are not distracted by applause or approval during the process. You are grounded in effort, patience, and consistency. Over time, what you built quietly becomes impossible to ignore, proving that action, not noise, is what truly changes everything. Not every disagreement deserves your response, and not every challenge deserves your energy. Many battles exist only to distract you from your purpose. When you react to every comment, insult, or provocation, you allow other people to pull you off your path. Silence is how you choose which battles matter and which ones do not. Some arguments are designed to drain you, not to enlighten you. People may provoke you to get a reaction, to feel powerful, or to justify their own behavior. When you stay silent, you refuse to participate in cycles of conflict that lead nowhere. You deny negativity the satisfaction of engagement, and in doing so, you protect your peace. Silence also gives you clarity. Instead of responding emotionally in the moment, you step back and observe. You see people's intentions more clearly when you are not distracted by the need to defend yourself. Many conflicts lose their power when they are not fed with attention. Silence starves unnecessary drama. Fighting every battle can make you lose sight of your real goals. Time spent arguing is time not spent growing, building, or healing. Silence redirects your energy toward what truly matters. It allows you to rise above situations that once pulled you down and kept you stuck. Choosing silence does not mean you are afraid to stand up for yourself. It means you are wise enough to know that peace is more valuable than proving a point. When you stop fighting battles that do not serve you, you preserve your strength for the moments that truly require it. When you move quietly, your attention stays where it belongs on your vision. Noise creates distraction. The more people know about your plans, the more questions, opinions, and expectations you must manage. As silence removes weight and allows you to concentrate fully on what you are building rather than on how it is being perceived. Focus requires simplicity. Too much talking creates mental clutter. You start thinking about how things look instead of how they work. Moving quietly frees your mind from performance and keeps you grounded in purpose. You are not adjusting your path to impress others. You are staying aligned with what you were called to do. Vision becomes clearer in silence. When you are not constantly responding to outside voices, you can hear your inner direction more clearly. You recognize what needs to be done next instead of being overwhelmed by long explanations and unnecessary planning. As silence sharpens your discernment and strengthens your decision-making, moving quietly also protects you from comparison. When you are not announcing progress, you are less likely to measure your journey against someone else's timeline. You stay patient with your growth. You stay committed to your process. Your vision remains intact because it is not being shaped by external pressure. Silence allows your actions to flow naturally. You move with intention, not urgency. Each step is deliberate, focused, and aligned. When you move quietly, distractions lose their power, clarity increases, and your vision stays strong even when the world around you is loud. Too often, we try to convince others of our vision, our abilities, intentions before anything tangible has been achieved. We talk, explain, and justify, hoping to gain understanding or approval. But true recognition does not come from words, it comes from results. People respect what they can see, measure, and experience, not what they are told exists. Silence allows you to focus on producing those results instead of wasting energy on explanations. When you keep quiet and dedicate yourself to action, you build proof that cannot be disputed. Achievements have a language that everyone comprehends, and results speak louder than arguments ever could. Those who doubted, criticized, or misunderstood you will eventually be confronted with undeniable evidence of your effort, consistency, and success. Silence becomes your strategy to demonstrate rather than debate. Trying to make people understand prematurely often backfires. Opinions, jealousy, and misunderstanding can cloud judgment and distract you from your path. Silence prevents unnecessary interference, ensuring that your energy is used for creation and progress, not for defending your dreams. Those who truly matter will recognize your vision when it comes to fruition, and even those who doubt it will have no choice but to acknowledge it. Results also build credibility in a way words cannot. When your achievements speak for themselves, your influence grows naturally. You no longer need to argue, persuade, or convince people and follow what has already been proven effective. Silence gives your work the room to mature and your accomplishments the impact they deserve. By letting your results do the talking, you shift your focus from seeking validation to creating value. This patience not only protects your energy, but also strengthens your confidence and character. Over time, the understanding you once sought through explanations comes effortlessly through the undeniable reality of what you have accomplished, showing that actions truly outweigh words in every meaningful way. Distractions are everywhere: social media notifications, opinions of others, unsolicited advice, and the constant chatter of people around you. Each distraction pulls your attention away from what truly matters, slowly eroding your focus and productivity. Silence acts as a shield against these interruptions. When you stay quiet, you create a space where your mind can fully concentrate on your purpose, free from unnecessary noise. The more you explain yourself, defend your actions, or try to justify your choices, the more you open doors for distractions. People may not understand your journey, and their comments or questions can lead you to second guess yourself. Silence protects you from this trap. It allows you to stay on course, maintaining the mental clarity required to move steadily toward your goals. Distractions are not always external. Often they come from within: worry, doubt, and overthinking. Talking too much can feed these internal distractions, giving them life and allowing them to grow. Choosing silence helps you turn inward, refocus your energy, and strengthen your resolve. It teaches you to trust your process without constant reassurance or external validation. Purpose requires consistency. Every time you get pulled into unnecessary conversations or defend your actions prematurely, you risk losing momentum. Silence allows you to preserve your energy for the work that matters, ensuring that each step you take is intentional and aligned with your larger vision. Moreover, staying silent helps you prioritize what is truly important. Not everything deserves your attention, and not every opinion or interruption deserves a response. By filtering out the noise and focusing on your mission, you protect your time, energy, and peace. Distractions may try to derail you, but silence keeps you rooted, centered, and moving forward with unwavering purpose. Life often tests our patience, especially when we desire results immediately or seek validation from others. Many people become anxious because they want recognition or success before the time is right. But what is truly meant for you cannot be delayed by anyone, nor can it be accelerated by force. Silence teaches you to trust the timing of God rather than chasing human approval or rushing outcomes. When you seek approval, you hand over your peace to the opinions of others. People may misunderstand, doubt, or even discourage you, and if you rely on their validation, your journey can be derailed. Staying silent allows you to protect your faith and focus on your work rather than on convincing others of your worth or destiny. What is intended for you does not require persuasion. It simply unfolds in the right season. God's timing is perfect even when it feels slow. There are lessons, preparations, and hidden blessings embedded in the waiting period. Silence trains you to embrace patience, to trust the process, and to remain faithful even when the world seems impatient or critical. Each quiet moment strengthens your character and positions you for what is coming. Rushing or forcing outcomes can backfire. When you act before the right time, you may compromise your vision, weaken your results, or attract unnecessary challenges. Silence keeps you aligned with divine timing, ensuring that what comes to you is fully prepared, fully deserved, and fully impactful. Ultimately, silence teaches surrender. It shifts your focus seeking approval or recognition to trusting that God is orchestrating every detail. What is meant for you will not miss you. You do not have to prove, push, or persuade. You simply remain patient, diligent, and faithful. knowing that the right blessings, opportunities, and breakthroughs will arrive exactly when they are supposed to in God's perfect timing. As we conclude, remember this: as silence is not emptiness, it is power. Every quiet moment you embrace is a step towards strength, wisdom, and clarity. Every time you resist the urge to explain, argue, or react, you are choosing your peace over chaos, your focus over distraction, and your faith over fear. Life is not a race to be seen or heard. It is a journey to be fulfilled. What is meant for you will come not because of noise, not because of force, but because of patience, discipline, and trust in the process. While others speak, compare, and chase recognition, you are quietly building a life that cannot be ignored. Remember, results speak louder than words. Growth happens in hidden seasons, and God's timing is perfect. Stay silent when it matters. Protect your energy. Guard your plans and move with intention. Let your action and your faith do the talking. Everything you desire, every blessing, every breakthrough will come in its proper time. You do not have to rush, explain, or prove anything. Stay silent, stay faithful, stay patient, and watch as your life unfolds in ways far greater than you ever imagined. Your moment is coming, and when it does, the world will see the power of what was quietly built. Stay focused, stay disciplined, and never underestimate the strength of silence. Reacting to every situation, comment, or criticism gives control of your life to others. Each time you respond impulsively, you let external circumstances dictate your emotions, your choices, and your energy. True leadership over your life begins the moment you decide to stop reacting to everything around you. Silence is the first step toward reclaiming that control. When you stop reacting, you stop letting anger, fear, or frustration drive your decisions. Instead of being pulled in multiple directions by outside forces, you create space to think clearly and act intentionally. Leadership in life is not about having all the answers. It's about mastering your responses, choosing when to act, and knowing what deserves your energy. Silence gives you that mastery. Reactivity often leads to regret. Words said in the heat of the moment cannot be taken back, and decisions made under pressure rarely produce the best outcomes. By embracing silence, you prevent unnecessary mistakes. You pause before responding, giving yourself the time to evaluate what is truly important and what can be ignored. When you stop reacting, you begin to lead by example. People notice the calmness, the composure, and the ability to remain steady in chaos. That composure inspires respect, not through words, but through presence. Leadership is not loud. It is deliberate, consistent, and controlled. Silence allows you to focus on what you can influence rather than what you cannot. You stop trying to change people who are not ready and start building the life that aligns with your vision. In this way, your actions, not your reactions, guide your destiny, and you become the leader of your own journey instead of a follower of everyone else's noise. Silence is a training ground for the heart and the mind. In a world filled with constant noise, opinions, and pressures, the ability to remain quiet cultivates emotional discipline. When you resist the urge to respond impulsively, defend yourself unnecessarily, or react to negativity, you are strengthening your inner resilience. This discipline is not just about staying calm. It is about learning to master your emotions rather than letting them master you. Every time you choose silence over reaction, you practice patience. You learn to wait for the right moment, to act with wisdom, and to avoid decisions fueled by temporary feelings. Emotional discipline grows when you prioritize thoughtful action over emotional response. It teaches you that not every situation requires an immediate answer, and that strength often lies in restraint. Silence also nurtures spiritual maturity. Quietness allows you to listen to yourself, to your purpose, and to God's guidance. In the absence of constant talking and justifying, you begin to hear wisdom that is otherwise drowned out by noise. Prayer, reflection, and contemplation all require silence, and in that silence, spiritual growth occurs. Moreover, emotional discipline and spiritual maturity are interconnected. As you control your responses, you become more aware of your inner state. You notice triggers, weaknesses, and areas for growth. Through silence, you develop a deeper understanding of who you are and who you are meant to become. This growth is subtle but powerful. While others may seek validation through loud words or constant explanations, you cultivate a quiet strength that shapes your character. Over time, emotional discipline and spiritual maturity will guide your decisions, protect your peace, and prepare you to handle success, challenges, and opportunities with clarity, humility, and unwavering faith.